Please fasten your seatbelts.
Welcome to BodyWork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to BodyWork Boxing. Robert Garcia's probably most notable young protege is going to fight later on this evening. He's going against a legend. And I know Robert Garcia, he has another young fighter, part of the little guys. I try to be well versed in watching all of these guys. He has another little guy, Steven Navarro, Kid Dynamite, who I think is special. It's a little bit too early, but was a silver medalist in the Olympics. But in regards to Bam, I know people throw around that word special a lot of times. I truly think that Bam is special. The only way I can really describe it is almost like he floats or skates around his opponent. He's so smooth. His movement is so smooth and easy, and he does it with such finesse, but he can turn it on. He has dynamite in his gloves when he chooses to. This is a fight where he's going up against a battle-tested veteran. Everybody knows about the wars between Estrada and Chocolatito. This guy has 44 fights. He only has 3 losses, and he's never been stopped in those losses. He also shares the same KO ratio as Jesse Bam Rodriguez with 63%. But we're looking at a person that has more than double the amount of fights that Bam has. Now, when I look at this fight and I start analyzing, I look at everything, because ever since the Spence and Bud fight, I kind of reevaluated how I actually break down fighters and, fights when they come along, and how I make my picks. And the number one thing is activity. The number one thing is activity. You could be sharp, you could have all the tools, you could have tools and skills, but number one is activity. Why? Because not only is it not getting hit by those gloves and things like that and not being active, but your punch resistance goes down. The longer you stay outside of the ring and outside of the lights. Remember, I told you things behave differently the more people are observing them. So not only are you getting away, or your tolerance to be able to perform under those lights go down, but your punch resistance goes down, and it might take a time or two to get hit. Now, Estrada is a veteran. You know, he's probably been getting hit since he was a baby. You know, very, very good. A lot. I even seen some little interview with Bam when he was saying, if I lose this fight. So he's coming in this fight being very level-headed, which is very rare, where he's confident but level-headed and realistic about the outcome. You know, in this era of boxing where everybody's beating their chest and saying I'm King Kong and all this, Bam is a little different. He seems like he's very, very focused when he's in there training. Everything I've seen, he's focused, he's dedicated. They both spoke about children. You know, Estrada said he took away time to actually spend time in those, you know, that year and a half, 18 months that he spent time with his children. You know, Bam actually recently had a child. And I know that sometimes we've seen fighters come out after having a child if something's different or something's off. But I think that for Bam, I think that this is big for him. I think that he wants to show that I'm going to continue to provide. I think the fact that he gets emotional when he's separated from his girl and his baby, you know, I think that it kind of affects him, and he's making all of this count. Now, as far as the breakdown, what I see might be the first time that Estrada gets stopped. I wouldn't be surprised if he survived, but it wouldn't be the first time. And why? I think that Bam, at 24 years old, he may not have grown into his grown man body quite yet, but a smaller guy. I think that Bam is coming into a command of his tools and his punching power. And I believe that, especially when you see what he did to Sonny Edwards, when you see the way he stopped Sonny Edwards and the way Sonny Edwards fell and the leg and all that, and he's very, very elusive. I think that Estrada probably is going to be more willing to sit in the pocket and trade with him. And I think that if Bam can avoid those cocky moments, like he had me on my edge of my seat when we was watching the Sonny Bam Edwards fight, because he was taunting and getting a little cocky, and if he can avoid those moments, he keeps his eye on the prize and he sticks to his guns, uses lateral movement, uses his jab, go upstairs and downstairs, because you know he do that body work. If he can do that throughout the course of 8 or 9 rounds, I think maybe in the championship round, with him being a young gun looking to make a name for himself, he might be able to get the job done. I think that he has to be clicking, he has to be consistent, and I would like for him to listen to Robert a little bit more than when he was fighting Sonny Edwards. Robert was saying, listen, don't play with this guy. You can't play with Estrada. He's a legend, you know. So I got Bam. I think that he's up next, and I think that as far as the little guys, this is going to be the fight in which he actually stamps and solidifies himself, if you don't know him, amongst the little guys. Why do I say that? Because we got Inoue down there. We got Bam down there. It's a Nakatani down there as well, name coming up. But as far as the masses and who's everybody's checking for, below a certain weight, I think around 126, people drop off. They're not as interested. Why? Because the average man is not that size. And my argument to that is like, listen, man, big, small, fat, or tall, you know, it's always going to be a brawl when people have, you know, disagreements and things that go on. So in school, in college, in the army, everywhere where there's a problem, you always see people fighting. So I don't discount the fact that somebody is a smaller guy fighting. Why? Because, you know, smaller guys are going to fight other smaller guys, you know, and I'm impressed. You know, I think that this is a point in time where Bam is actually going to really set himself off. And this is one of the guys where I even bought a Canelo pay-per-view just to support, because Bam was on the card. That's how much I think about this young man. I call him the mechanic in my boxes to watch, and he's always a treat. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I would love to get your comments, your thoughts, your feedback on this fight. And will Bam be able to set himself up with the likes in the names of an Inoue? You know, what do you think? because I'm not sure if that fight is going to be on horizon. Bam is like 24. They might barely miss each other, but if Bam happen to have a growth spurt or gets bigger, because I know he's not going to stay down there super fly, because this is for a super flyweight. But I'm thinking that on the horizon eventually, you know, when he really wants to test himself and he really wants to have his next big name legacy fight, I think that anyway is going to be in the cards eventually. Eventually, not yet. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, because we got to see how much bigger Bam gets, and what fighting weight he's going to fight in the future. But I will say that this is interesting. You know, sometimes pressure bust pipes. We've seen some upsets. I heard some rumblings about this year being the year of upsets. I don't think that either one of these fights, if either one of these fighters win, I don't think it'll be an upset. And this is what happened when you're dealing with a fighter like a Bam Rodriguez. See, the year before last, I was one of the ones saying, hey man, I know I like my fighter to fight very often, but he was fighting a little bit too often. And that was the year when he actually suffered the broken jaw. You know, and I was saying, okay, when your level of competition is all the way up there, you can afford to actually slow it down a little bit. The man was fighting 4 and 5 times a year. So I'm like, okay, cool, 2 or 3 when your level of competition is up is just enough. Why? Because you got to stay sharp. You got to give your body time to heal, time to rest. Well, we haven't seen Bam since December. And an epic stoppage against Sonny Bam Edwards, and we are staying tuned for what's going to happen on tonight. Anyways, hit my comment section. Let me know, man. Are you a Jesse Bam Rodriguez fan? I think it's his moment. Salute to Robert Garcia. He's quickly becoming one of my top. He's definitely in my top 5 trainers right now. Has a fleet of fighters. He has a league, and they all can do what they do. I just think that Bam himself is a very special guy. Let me know what you think in my comment section. You know, talk to me, I'll talk back. Thanks for tuning in here with BodyWorkBoxing, where we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.